So in example 5, this is a quadratic relation. So the first thing we need to do is identify the type of quadratic relation we're working with. So in this case here, we have plus between the terms, and we have a positive coefficient on both of these terms, and it's equal to a positive value over here. So this means that we're dealing with an ellipse. Okay, so that's the first thing. I can identify the type of function this is, or the relation this is, and so this is an ellipse. Next thing I'm going to do is identify the center of this ellipse. Okay, so I'm going to look at this shift here of +3 and +5. So that identifies my center at +3, +5. So there's the center of my ellipse. The next thing I do is establish the x-axis and y-axis radius. So looking at the denominator, that represents the square of the x-axis radius. So in this case here, this 16 is equal to 4 squared. So the r along the x-axis is going to be equal to 4. So I'm going to count out 4. There's the edge, right edge, left edge. There's the right edge of my ellipse. So I'm going to do the same thing with my y-axis. So underneath the y, I have a 25. So that means that 25 is equal to 5 squared. That means the radius along the y-axis is equal to 5. Okay, so this form of the equation is important to recognize. Okay, this form gives us all the information we need to graph this function or this relationship. So once I've established that, I'm going to draw in my y-axis radius, 5 up, 5 down, and that represents the edges of that ellipse. So at this point I have all the terms that I need. I've got the center. Again, maybe I'm going to just explicitly state the center. The center is going to be at +3, +5. Okay, so this value here represents our A value, and then our B value is the y-axis radius, so that's B. I've got all the parts I need, so I'm just going to sketch in my ellipse. Okay, I don't know if I could change that or not. So I'm going to draw that a little bit nicer. So I've got my elliptical arcs. I'm just going to draw in the 4 quadrants here. Okay. The next one here, we have to first of all convert it into the standard form, of the graphing form, and we need to then graph this. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to group my x's and y's. So since x squared, the coefficient x squared is negative, I'm going to group my y's together first. So 25y squared minus 50y, and then I'm going to end up with negative 4x squared plus 32x, and then I'm going to move that the negative 139 to the other side as positive 139. Okay, so this is, I've just rearranged it to group them. So I'm going to factor out the 25 because I want to complete the square. So I need the perfect square form of this. So to do that, I need to complete the square. So I'm going to put this into the form where I can complete the square. Now be very careful when you factor out the -4 here. This is going to end up being -8x. Okay, so check your signs here. Okay, so there's my form that's ready to factor. I need to complete the square. Half of the middle squared is 1, so I'm going to do plus. I've got added 25 ones to this side. So that 1 here, again, I'm just going to make sure that we're clear. That 1 compared with that 25 gives us a plus 25 here. here I'm gonna complete the square. I'm gonna take half of -8 and square it. I get 16. I'm gonna subtract 64. Okay, the reason why I'm subtracting 64 because I have a -4 times 16, and that's gonna balance off the -64 on the other side. So now with the completed square form, with the completed square form, I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to put it in its perfect square form, and I'm going to then get rid of the coefficient on the right hand side. Okay, so I need to set this up first. -4 all squared, and that's going to equal on the other side. When I add this all together, I'm going to end up with 139 plus 25 is 64. 164 minus 64 is 100. Okay, so now I can see that this is a trans y. So I'm going to just maybe make a note here, trans y. Okay, so it's going to be, the axis is going to be vertical like that. So I'm going to make sure that when I draw this, it's trans y. I'm going to divide by 100 to put it into its graphing form. So when I divide by 100, 25 over 100 simplifies to 1 over 4. Okay, 4 over 100 simplifies to 1 over, hold on here, I'm just going to clean this up a bit. So 4 over 100 simplifies to 1 over 25, and that's equal to 1. This now allows me to identify my b square, and in this case that's a square, and my b square. Okay, so my b value b squared is equal to 4, so b is equal to 2. My a squared is equal to 5, so my a is equal to, 25, so my a is equal to 5. This then allows me to get the slope. Okay, the slope value m of my asymptotes is going to be plus minus the b over the a and that's going to give me a value of 2 over 5. Okay, so that's my slope. That also gives me the x and y axis radius. So now I have my center. My center, since it's in the perfect square form, allows me to find the center. It's going to be at x equals positive 4. Be careful because the 4 is with the x. Y equals 1. So that's going to be the location of my center. Okay, I know it's trans y, it's going along that axis. So when I draw this, I need to make sure that. I'm still going to use my x-axis and y-axis radius. So my x-axis radius 2, I'm going to go, my y-axis radius of 2, I'm going to go up 2, down 2. The a value is 5, so that's going to give me my x-axis radius. It's going to be 5, so I'm going to go left 5, and I'm going to go to the right 5. Now, the slope has to go through the center, so to help me myself draw the slope, I'm going to work out these corners. Okay, because the slopes across through the corners of this rectangle is going to be the same as the slope of the asymptotes. Okay, so that's going to give me a ratio of 2 to 5 slope. So I'm going to sketch the slope in. Okay. So my slope is going to have my asymptotes. To draw this, I don't know if I could fit it in here. Okay, I think that's the best I can do. Then I've got my slope going in this direction. Again, those black dots help me draw the slope, the proper slope in a plus minus 2 over 5. Okay, so those are my slopes of my asymptotes. I know it's trans y, so I'm going to use these two coordinates for my vertices. And then I'm going to use those vertices and then sketch in my graph to follow the asymptotes the best I can. So there it is. My center is at 4, 1. I've got a horizontal radius of 5, a vertical radius of 2, and it's trans y, and I get my hyperbola looking like that.